Hey, Drew, guess what?
What?
We're in an advertisement.
Well, that is neat.
Anchor has asked us to help advertise the platform we use for this very podcast.
Using Anchor has made it really easy for us to distribute our podcast across almost every streaming service and has helped us grow to the point we're at now.
Yeah, thanks, Anchor. You're the best.
If you have any questions about using Anchor, please reach out to us. We'd love to share our personal experience with you and help you get started doing your own podcast.
All right, let's start the show.
Hey, Drew.
Hey, Chris.
Because yesterday was Valentine's Day, I thought I'd start with a poem.
Oh my god. Alright, I'm ready. Hit me with it.
Standing across the room, I saw you smile. I said I want to talk to you for a while. But before I make my move, my emotions started running wild. My tongue gets tied, and that's no lie. I'm looking in your eyes. I'm looking in your big brown eyes. And I've got this to say to you. Girl, I want to make you sweat. Sweat till you can't sweat no mo. And if you cry out, I'm gonna push it some mo. Girl, I want to make you sweat. Sweat till you can't sweat no more. And if you cry out, I'm gonna push it some more. Push it some more. A la 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 long. A la la lee long. La long long. Come on. Welcome to the Good Bottle Podcast.
I think what we just learned is that yesterday was a slow day at Good Bottle.
It actually wasn't. It was a great day.
Well,
You had time for that.
That was fantastic.
well, thank you for that. And yeah, listeners, don't get it twisted. There is a third voice that you're hearing. And for our second guest in the history of the Good Bottle Podcast, we have Sir Buddy Newby.
Hey,
Yay!
what's up? Oh, hi.
From that tiki bar that's in Sacramento.
The other one.
There's only one.
There-
There's only one.
Oh,
I think.
I've been going to the wrong one.
Oh, shit.
So, no, Buddy Newby from Jungle Bird, also one of our really awesome, great friends that we've been trying to get on for a while, and he's been big leaguing us. So,
I just have a baby and an 11-year-old and a wife, and every time I've been asked, it's been a bad timing.
Hey, buddy, I'm going to need you to stop making excuses
Okay,
and start
okay.
making better life choices.
it was
I think you told me that last time I said I couldn't make it.
Sounds accurate.
it was funny when I texted him earlier about it. I was just like, hey, we're going to record tonight. Do you want to come join us? And he's just like, nah, I got the baby. Like, I don't understand how you guys have time for this. And I was like, we're recording at 9 o'clock on a Saturday night. Like,
Yeah, that's true.
it's the opposite of time.
To me, that seemed like, where's that time?
Yeah, usually.
But I
that's
made it, so there it is.
and we're here. And
But
we're here.
also, I feel like you just gave away the fact that we're all old and boring. The fact that this is the only time that we have in our lives to do this.
It's our first Saturday night recording, though, so I don't feel that bad about
Is it
it.
our first?
Yeah, because everything else has been typically Sunday, Monday nights.
Wow.
Which I think is okay with most people.
Yeah, that's fine.
But fortunately, Buddy brought us a gift.
I did.
And he brought us a rum, oddly enough.
Weird.
From the guy who
I know, it's
runs
weird.
a rum bar. So, what did you bring us?
So, this was from my personal collection, not from the bar. I've had a bottle of Lost Spirits Polynesian-inspired rum. I've had it for a while, but I know that Brian has not had it for a long time.
Not made it.
So it hasn't made it. Yeah, thank you. Sorry about that. Hasn't made it for a long time, and I believe I bought it off of some weird website that I didn't even know. I was looking for. I literally Googled
Is it
Polynesian.
Connections?
Polynesian-inspired rum from Lost Spirits because I wanted it and I wanted to try it. And this was 3 years ago, I think, and even then it was hard to find. But I found it. I can't remember the name of the website, but it's from New York.
But he had a lot of strange interactions in alleyways.
It was weird,
in
yeah.
Sacramento before he
But I
actually
found
got his
it.
hands on this.
And I bought it online. It was like $40 or something like that. But I had to get it shipped from New York, which was a big, huge pain in the ass because
It's not legal.
It's not technically legal, but I got it, and they did it. So.
Well, so this rum was released almost 6 years ago at this point.
Yeah.
So statute of limitations, it's fine.
It's fine.
You're
Yeah.
totally
Yeah,
We're good.
You're
We're
totally
good.
good.
I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't ship it to me.
So Lost Spirits is something that we have had in here before. So the last time that we had a Lost Spirits product, it was the Jamaican style rum. So now doing the Polynesian style, one of the reasons that you don't see this anymore is because since this was produced, they have actually moved locations of their distillery. This one was produced in Monterey.
Correct.
The new distillery is in Los Angeles.
They moved twice.
And
They were in South Carolina too, weren't they?
Right. Yeah.
that's with the Rational.
With the Rational.
Yeah,
Correct.
and so one of the things that I had read was that they are actually not able to make the Polynesian anymore because the climate isn't right in LA as compared to Monterey, which I think is super interesting.
It's fascinating.
But again, when you talk about Lost Spirits, and again, this is the company that is doing this rapid aging and kind of just like making people angry with like their quote unquote aged products in very short amount of times. And so,
Is it really drawn like a negative connotation?
Yeah, who's getting angry over this?
mostly Scotch drinkers.
Scotch drinkers? You would think it would be the Scotch makers who would be pissed off about it, not the drinkers. What do they care?
Well, I'm sure there's some Scotch makers as well. But I mean, it's and it's a small group of people. But it's also one of the things that we talked about last time. Brian leans into it, and he calls that line the abomination. So it's like, it's
very true.
hilarious. With all that said, let's actually drink
Let's open
this,
it,
and make that happen. So, in terms of the production, I was looking it up and trying to figure out what kind of really made it different. And it's very similar to their Navy style that they do, but during one of the processes where pineapple is like a flavor profile that really comes out, because like a 6 or 7 step process that they do for the production of all of their spirits. Pineapple becomes a lot more prominent. So they actually put a bigger emphasis there because for the Polynesian profile, he wanted banana to really stand out.
What's Polynesian profile?
I have no idea, and I've been trying to figure that out, but I don't know. But
any
thoughts?
I don't know.
I mean, to me, what it sounds like is like it's a tiki rum.
Yeah, I think what he was going for was like an island style. So you're gonna get a lot of those tropical fruits. You're
I
gonna
went
get
really Jamaican when you said that. Island style.
island style, man. No, I think what well, I got what he was going with.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
But you're gonna get tropical fruits. You're gonna get some of that funk that I think is gonna come along with typically like a Jamaican or something like that. But I taste the banana. I taste the pineapple when I drink it. But it is also at 66%, so you're gonna get some heat with it. So with that, it kind of evaporates some of that. So I always like to just do like a drop of water to kid it.
Which we
You got a drop of
don't
water.
really have. We kind of have, not really, but at least not in the proper sense. Chris just drank some water to set the mood for his palate.
I get a lot of marzipan on the nose of this. 'Cause I wanted to say vanilla first, but it's a lot more bready than that, right? So it's like nougat.
yeah, I get what you're saying.
All right, here's a little water on that bad boy.
Juice. Not too much. I did too much.
Oh, well,
Yeah, I think after you
I'm not a minimalist.
get that water. Ooh.
Is that good?
Yeah. That does open up a lot of those tropical fruits that I was talking about.
I mean, even not just straight, because I was actually really enjoying it. For something that is 132 proof.
Yeah.
That's a really nice,
It's drinkable.
really nice flavor.
It's my salivary glands juicing.
It does.
So, in bringing this from your personal collection and not bringing it from the Jungle Bird collection, we do want to start to talk about Buddy Newby, the man himself.
Sure. Yeah.
So
shoot.
you're currently one of the owners of Jungle Bird, which is a tiki bar in Sacramento.
Correct.
How many rums do you guys currently have?
203 was my last count.
How many do you have at home?
At home, I don't have as big of a collection. I think that most people would think. I gave Drew actually I think like a case and a half of bottles
That's true.
that I was trying to just get rid of because they were just sitting. Because I think what happens is when you're surrounded by alcohol constantly every day, when you get home, you don't really lean into it as much and go like, I need a drink.
Well, and I think it
that's a
also came at a time like when
Unless you're an alcoholic.
There's that, yeah.
But we obviously had met each other way before Jungle Bird had opened up and stuff like
Correct,
that, and
yeah.
we really kind of built some of our foundation of our relationship really on rum.
Yeah.
And then growing into like the tiki and stuff like that. And I think once you were getting further and further into Jungle Bird, you were like, I don't want rum at my house anymore.
Well, yeah.
Like,
It wasn't, and I don't even think it was a thing where it's like I don't want it there. It's just I don't need it there. I have it.
Right.
I
You
have
have
it
a whole bar.
at the bar. I can go grab it, and I think that's even with a lot of the tiki stuff. Like if you go to my house isn't decked out with tiki stuff because I have a bar to put it all in. So I think people expect.
What's so funny is I having the bottle shop. I'm the opposite. I'm like
Opposite?
I'm the opposite.
That's that 132 right there. That's what that is.
Pulling out the Sean Connery.
Yeah.
There are certain bottles I go, no.
I mean,
I need to take one of these.
yeah, and there's definitely those times where something new comes in to the bar, or I'm able to get something, and I'm like, I got to take one of these home. I think the latest one that I took home was a bottle of the Plantation Peru.
Oh, cool.
It's awesome rum, but oddly enough, I got it from Jason Alexander of Devil's Reef. He brought
That's up in Tacoma.
In Washington.
yeah.
So he'd stopped in the Jungle Bird on his way to Tiki Oasis, and we got to talking and chit chatting and bullshitting and being just like rum nerding out. But he's such a cool guy because it wasn't like just talking about rum and tiki. We talked about football. We talked about he lives on a houseboat. We talked about his houseboat. It was all kinds of just random stuff, and we really connected, I think. And he was like, "Hang on 1 second," and he goes out to his car and comes back. He's like, "I got you this." I was like, "Oh, that's great."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Yeah, keep it at the bar." I was like, "No, this is going home with me." So I mean, I think that's the last bottle I actually brought home. But back to the question, I think I have probably about 60 bottles at home. Which is
That's moderate.
that's a good amount.
It's more than
Good
most
amount.
people.
Yeah. But it's not all rum. I really enjoy our Japanese whiskeys.
Yeah.
And even just like single malt whiskeys, things like that. I have a few of those.
What about Japanese whiskeys do you enjoy?
I just like them. That's the thing. Like people kind of ask questions like that, and I'm like, I don't know. I just like it. Why do I have to like have any reason for it?
They qualify it.
I don't know. For me, I just enjoy drinking them because they're crisp, they're straightforward. I don't know. I don't get into details.
But he's good with
I have
words.
really like when people ask me like, well, what do you think about this? I'm like, oh, it's good. Well, what's good about it? I just like it.
I'm really looking forward to the
Why?
insight he's going to give us on all of these articles.
I have no insight whatsoever. I have no insight.
Great guess.
And here's the thing: I just know what I like and what I don't like. I can tell you why I don't like something probably easier than why I do like it.
Yeah.
Because
That makes zero sense, buddy.
no, if something I don't like, I can give you all the details of why it's shitty. But if something I like, I'm like, it's just good. Why? I don't know, it's good.
Okay, so bringing it back to kind of Jungle Bird and,
Yes, sorry.
and
We got
everything
off.
like that.
Yeah.
The start of Jungle Bird was actually a single night
Correct.
at Tank House, which is now the sister bar, one of the sister bars of Jungle Bird.
Yeah.
And it was something that you were doing you were doing Tiki Tuesdays.
Correct.
And
Yeah.
and you built this following, you built it up. You did a mug release as
We
well.
did a mug release with
which was
Tiki Farm.
insane.
Yeah.
Like
You had a bar back for me.
I was so bad at it.
In no way is that surprising.
Well,
Yeah.
it was crazy because we did the mug with Tiki Farm, and Holden was really awesome about getting us the mug really, really quick.
Yeah.
I think we got that mug in like 3 months, which it's unheard of to get a mug in 3 months. But we got it really quick because he was just on it and got it done. And we did the release, and I think we only, at the time, Tiki Farm's minimum was 125 mugs, which now that's, I think, 250 is their minimums. But it might even be 500 now. I don't even know. But at the time, 125 was their minimum, so I got 125, and we blew through, I think, like 110 of them that night, which was crazy. But it was just me bartending. I think Nikki helped for a little while. Nikki Muth, who's at Tank House, and she bartended with me for a little while. Tyler kind of tried to help by giving me tickets and say, make this. And then and at one point, I think people were waiting like 35, 45 minutes for a cocktail. And I felt terrible, but at the same time, like, it was probably one of my best nights at Tank House. I made like $700 in tips. I sold a bunch of mugs. And the great thing about selling the mugs is I got to keep the money because they were my mugs. I made a deal with Tyler that at the time, Tyler, who's my business partner at Jungle Bird, was my boss. And I said, hey, we're doing this tiki thing. We got to release a mug. And he's like, nah, dude, I just put in this glycol system. I'm hella broke. We ain't doing it. I was like, how about this? I'll buy the mugs. I keep all the profit from it. Yeah, go, do it. So we do it. And like I said, he had to cut me a check for all the mugs as we were running them through the computer. And it was nice. It was
a nice check.
It was a nice little check that I got for myself.
Well, I remember that night. It was a lot of fun, and I think the one thing that may have been different of how some tiki people tend to be is like they were all just like super patient and understanding.
They were,
and they were just like, hey, because you walked into Tank House, and Tank House is already not a very big place.
No, yeah,
and then it's a small bar, and you're just getting absolutely annihilated. I mean, again, at one point, because we had like done some sort of, because we coincided like the brands I was working with at the time.
Are you allowed to say those brands?
No, yeah, it was during the...
She tries to actively forget that part.
Well, it's funny that you say that because in my phone, anytime Drew calls, it says Drew, Captain Morgan.
Yeah, well,
I'm still Captain Drew to a lot.
I always will be, and I appreciate that point in my life. It made me who I am today. But so we did it with kind of a time with Captain Morgan, and then at one point I was just trying to bust cups and glasses and stuff like that because that was like one thing I could do. But then when you get behind that bar, it's like there's not a whole lot of room, and I was like, okay, I need to get the hell out of this.
I forget
situation.
why I wasn't there, but there was I remember being really bummed, but you saved me a mug.
There was a few people who called me ahead of time. Were like, I can't make it. Can you save a mug?
Yeah,
I know you were one of them.
I definitely still have that on my
there was a few people who called.
Yeah, I definitely still have my mug as well. So with that being said, so that turns into this full bar. And Tyler got really excited about it, and I feel really lucky because you guys actually like included me in a lot of the planning. Not like what should we do, but more kind of like what do you think of this, and like here's these different concepts and stuff like that. And I think the only thing that I might have had a little bit of influence on was that I wanted the windows darker.
I do remember that. You walked in and you're like, these need to be darker. Like, okay, let's tint them darker.
Yeah. It was very important to me that those windows were darker. But I do remember one time we were having this discussion, and we were kind of all at different points with it. I think we might have done it in San Francisco on one of our trips. And I remember at one point just saying, because I had built a tiki bar in my backyard, I was like, at this point, guys, I'm the only one with a tiki bar. So I think my opinion...
I do remember that, yeah.
I think my opinion was a little bit
that more... That was when we took that trip on the boat, right?
Yes.
That was a fun day.
Yeah, that was a crazy, crazy fun day. So you guys just hit year...
Just over 3 years.
Just over 3 years. Yeah. And, again, some of the things that, we've been critical of in the past is just some of the tiki people that you have to deal with. Now, there are still a ton that are great, and there are so many amazing people in Tiki, but there's definitely those ones that can make it really, really tough. And
that was a solid backpedal. I appreciate that.
Well, you gotta do that because there are a lot of people that I love in that within that world.
There are a lot of people
they're
that I
so
love.
Great.
It's the shitty ones that really just kind of make it hard for everybody.
I would say it's probably 90% of them are great. They're great people.
Yeah.
And they support the bar. They're there. They support our events. They support me. I mean, personally, if I go out and I bartend, do a guest spot, they show up and it's awesome. But there's that like 10% of shitty people. But I think that's in any population of anything. I mean, and that's a crazy thing. Like you think about like anytime there is a hobby or a thing where people can be an elitist of it, you're gonna have those people who are those elitists who are like, you're wrong, you're stupid. I'm smarter than you. I know more than you. You're always going to have that, no matter what. It could be RC cars. It could be a tiki bar. It can be whatever. You're going to always have those people who just shit on you. And there's those types of people are in everything, and those people are just unhappy people. That's all it boils down to. They are. They're unhappy.
Yeah. I feel like because the tiki and rum community came together online to really create that community, I feel like they are louder than most others. Louder than the whiskey alphas.
Sure.
Louder than the cocktail nerds. The tiki and rum nerds are just happen to be louder online, and those are the ones that we have to deal with.
Yeah, and I've gotten really good about just ignoring it. I just don't care. I don't have time in my day to put up with that bullshit. Like if you want to,
well, yeah, you can't even tell me what tastes good. So
right, I can't tell you what tastes good. So, but I mean, that just kind of goes along with my kind of perspective on life. Like if you don't like what I'm doing, that's cool. Then don't like it. I don't care. I'm gonna still do what I do. You're gonna do what you do, and that's just how I am. And that's how I've always been. Like if there's something you don't like about the bar, or there's a cocktail I've named on the menu and you don't agree with it, fine, voice your opinion. I'm not going to change it. I'm not going to do anything about it. It's going to be what it is, and you're just having to get over it.
Yeah. Well, I think you guys have built a really solid community, and I think it appeals to a lot of different people. So
sure, yeah.
It's a pretty strong community of tiki enthusiasts within Sacramento. So
we've got a great group. Yeah.
Yeah. So I know on Sundays, they're always doing their Sakohana meetups. I know that's really gained a lot of momentum. One of my favorite things that you guys do, and I think it perfectly complements tiki, but I know some people have been like it doesn't, is the Sabbath Sundays.
Oh, I love Sabbath
Sundays. So great. So basically, just for our listeners at home, when you go into a tiki bar, like you're expecting exotica music, tropical music, stuff like that. But on Sundays, starting at 9:00, you walk into Jungle Bird, the tiki bar, and you are going to hear metal.
It's all metal. We have a metal menu, and we have drinks that are named after bands and different cool stuff. We have like a Don the Mastodon, which is instead of Don the Beachcomber. It's just stuff like that, or Mastodon the Beachcomber, whatever it is. I don't know. But it's a lot of fun, and I think that was something that Travis Cameron helped develop, and Dutch, who used to be with us, he's at Golden Bear now, but it was kind of their idea. And
all old no call no show?
Yeah, oh yeah. So it was kind of their idea, and I thought it was cool. I remember Tyler not being 100% on board when we first started doing it, and I kind of was just like, dude, I think we have a solid foundation here. And the reason why was Guar came to town, and they were playing at Ace of Spades. And the drummer came to Jungle Bird with a couple of the roadies, and they were hanging out, and of course not in costume. Right. So, you don't know what they look like, obviously, or I don't anyway. And they got to talking with, it was Dutch, was actually bartending, and they got to talking with him, and they're like, yeah, we, every time we go to a new city, we go check out tiki bars. And Guar, I don't know if anybody knows this, but Guar has their own tiki mugs. They have a bar.
Oh shit.
Yeah, the Guar bar.
That's awesome.
And it was one of those like aha moments, like, no, this does fit, like this totally works,
right?
And so we ended up doing it, and there were a few people who didn't like it, but it's like I said earlier, if you don't like it, don't come.
Which they weren't going to be there at that
don't
time
come
anyways.
at 9:00 on Sundays. Come any other time. And so and it works, and now Travis has got a good following, and people who are coming just for the Sabbath Sundays, which has been great. And like I said, I think there's a place for it. Otto's Shrunken Skull in New York is pretty much all metal all the time, and that's a tiki bar. There's a place, and I think there could easily be a punk night or something like that. There's a lot of different avenues that tiki kind of hits. You have like that 50s exotica, 60s exotica, stuff like that, but you also have punk, you have Sid does a great job with that, I think, at Tonga Hut in LA. He's kind of always been more on that punk scene stuff, and he does a cool job at that. There's, like we were talking about, metal. I think you can hit a lot of different areas. There's Elvis and stuff, like people are into that. There's all these random like offshoots of tiki, rockabilly and stuff, and it all fits. And I think that's one of the things that the people who don't like it have to kind of come to fruition, that it's, hey, times are changing. We got to start accepting more than just your little sect.
Well, especially if you wanted to keep going.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I mean, I remember that was one of my arguments for it, was like, if this gets more people in the door, that means that this bar stays open the other 6.5 days of the week,
Right.
Is that it's going to be available to it. And then in terms of how it's relevant to our industry and stuff like that, I think giving somebody like Dutch and Travis like the reign to be like, go create something cool, go make this Sunday night shift something that people don't want to miss, and that's what they've been able to do.
Yeah,
and you can do that at any bar, and it doesn't have to be Sunday night. It could be Monday afternoon. Like own that shift, make it yours, make it something really cool.
Well, and that's exactly how we started it. I mean, it was Tiki Tuesday at a barbecue place.
Right.
Like it was, hey Tyler, can I do tiki drinks on Tuesdays? Why? Because it's boring on Tuesdays and there's nobody here, and I want business, and I would like to make more money on Tuesday nights, and I like tiki, so why not? It's something I'm interested in, and there may be other people who are interested in it, but even if they're not, it can create some kind of buzz and help with business. And same thing. I mean, Sabbath Sunday could be an offshoot one day and be like, we have a metal bar in Sacramento now. Look at that.
There you go.
I appreciate
Travis,
you doing,
there you go.
I appreciate you doing Tiki Tuesdays at the time because I was doing Monday Rum Days.
Yeah,
So
I remember that.
you didn't poach mine.
I didn't. I tried not to.
Great.
Yeah. I did. I do remember that Tiki Tuesday was in direct competition with Rum Rock at the time, though. So there was that.
Rum Rock. Oh, Rum
So
Rock.
we don't talk too much about Rum Rock, but it was there.
That's okay. I'll talk about it. They asked me if I wanted to put some cocktails on the menu, and they said they'd put my name next to it. And I said, that's a hard no.
Yeah, that was.
I was like, you can have the cocktails just to put my name next to it.
Anybody who's not familiar with Rum Rock, it was a
2 months?
It was a 3, 4, I don't know, something like that. It was an effort at trying to make a tiki bar in Sacramento by people who don't have any interest in tiki.
Yeah, well, and
that's really what it was.
It was their attempt to be first to market as well.
It was, and they tried, and it wasn't. It was it is what it is. It's no longer open, so that's what it is.
Do we know what happened to a lot of the stuff that they bought? Because they bought.
I know. I bought the
they
fish
bought-
floats.
Some of it's at Jungle Bird.
Yeah, some of it's at
Because
Jungle
they bought
Bird.
that outrigger as well.
The outrigger they couldn't sell. They were asking too much for it.
Yeah. I mean, it was a legit outrigger.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think they bought that from Oceanic Arts, and I think they paid quite a bit of money for it.
Sure.
And so when they were wanting to make money, they wanted to at least make their money back. And I know me and Tyler are like, no, no,
Yeah, it's
dog,
huge too.
no, dog.
Yeah.
I think it would have been a good addition to Jungle Bird, though.
But now we have Jungle Bird, so
know where it would've fit.
if
fit.
yeah, if you guys haven't been, please go.
Yes,
please. And yeah, so it's
And if you don't like metal, don't come on Sunday at 9:00.
But now we gotta get into the regular part of the
Yes.
show.
Okay. So sorry.
So no, this is exactly what we want to do. So now,
Yo, you stop talking about yourself, buddy.
talking about myself.
Jesus.
He was just like,
you know.
even before he was like, I don't know if there's nothing interesting about me. And we just went 20 minutes.
We didn't talk about
talking
me. We
stuff.
talked about the bar.
It's an extension of you. All right. So first story: Pernod Ricard's new CEO Anne Mukherjee. I don't know.
I didn't know how to pronounce her last name.
Okay,
either.
so she has been on the job for about six to 8 weeks, and her focus is reigniting the fire that once was Absolut Vodka. This past year, they experienced a 3.5 million case decrease in sales, and so their new campaign is titled "Drink Responsibly." #sex responsibly.
Oh.
They actually paid a research company to go out and just poll a bunch of people between 21 and 30, ask them a bunch of different questions about different habits and stuff like that. And one of the more staggering numbers that they had experienced, and it shouldn't have been staggering because it's pretty well known knowledge, is that 69% of sexual assaults that people talked about during that study, there was alcohol involved. So
Oddly enough, that number.
right, yeah, yeah. So the other thing that they found is that 21 to 30-year-olds are actually very conscious about what they're drinking these days and stuff like that. And so their effort is to create this whole campaign where it's like, if you jump in an Uber with someone, that's not consent. If you take a drink from somebody, that's not consent and stuff like that. Because they want to have this discussion about sex and stuff like that in this world, especially in this Me Too world. And they learned also this research that you can't just be a company that sits on the sidelines and all that stuff, which most of all these things I agree with, and it's just kind of like yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Like this is things that we should be discussing and stuff like that. But at the same time, I think it's also really telling. It's like, okay, they're very conscious about what they're drinking, maybe releasing 20 different flavors of vodkas is not the best strategy if you're trying to resonate with today's drinkers.
Well, I mean, I think to be fair, 6 to 8 weeks on the job, she doesn't get blamed for the entire 90s.
That's good. Solid point.
When I read the headline, my eyes rolled real hard. Trying to bring Absolut back from the dead. Mm-hmm. I think Absolut Elix
Elix has been doing great, haven't they?
I don't know about great. I haven't seen their numbers, but I think we're in a bubble.
True.
The bars that we operate at and the community that we operate within has obviously been targeted by Elix.
Yeah.
And when you have like really cool copperware that you're just giving to anybody who will carry it, that's
sorry.
That's a good.
I don't know about giving. Like you had to buy a lot of cases.
We bought a lot of cases.
You had to buy a lot of cases to make that happen.
But yeah, I mean I think that's something to consider as well. So you have that segment of it, right? But it's just so but right now at your bar, and again it's a rum bar, but how many flavored vodkas do you have?
0.
Yeah.
But we do carry Absolut Elix.
Right. There you go.
I appreciate the messaging of this, and I think it's going to be really interesting to watch it unfold and see the tonality of the advertising campaign.
Well, it's a really delicate line, right?
It's super delicate, and I'm relatively impressed with the fact that they're even willing to jump in on that train.
Well, I think just being responsible is, and this is taking steps towards responsibility. I think you were talking about the whole Me Too movement. That's something that as men, we need to be responsible and be like, hey, we need to be on the good side of this, not the shitty side of it,
right,
and be contributing. And so anytime there's somebody who's we need to be making sure that people are, as bartenders especially, or in the bar industry, I know that I've seen many times where people have, there's been too many drinks involved, and now this girl's going home with him, and maybe you don't feel 100% comfortable with that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's our responsibility to be like, are you okay? Is everything going to be okay? I don't want you leaving this bar, And I think this is another step towards that, keeping people accountable.
As I read the article, their quote for the campaign, like you mentioned, was drink responsibly, sex responsibly. Hashtag sex responsibly. We've all made jokes about drinking responsibly, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Drinking responsibly. Yeah, here's a shot. Okay.
Yeah.
But when I read the sex responsibly, I was like, yeah, I actually kind of dig it. It's a little bit less of an eye roll than I thought it would be, and I had to let it sit with me for a little bit. But I really like it.
But again, it's one of those things that you are doing that fine line where it's you're.
Are you doing it for the right reasons?
Well, there's that. There's definitely that.
Yeah.
There's that factor. It's okay, is it just to jump on this trend of trying to be more socially conscious and aware, but I do like the fact that they're kind of hey, they don't want through this study that we did, they don't want companies sitting on the sideline. They want people involved talking about it and stuff like that.
Right.
On the same token, though, I think it's a situation where you have this huge segment of people, and then we're all very aware of it. It's okay, but you're the problem. You're contributing to
alcohol's the problem.
Alcohol's the problem. Yeah. And that's where it's kind of the where you're straddling that line and being okay, how do we talk about this without kind of being well...
But it's not like it's a Rooflin company saying
right.
Oh, sex responsibly. I mean,
right.
It's alcohol. Yeah. Alcohol is culturally appropriate. It's a thing that has been a part of culture.
It is, but if you look at the numbers, like it said,
right.
it's one of those contributing factors to what he said. 69% of sexual assaults is alcohol was involved.
Right.
So I mean, if you're looking at something that is a huge factor, then being responsible and saying we want to make sure to do this right. I think it's partly probably like you were saying, are they trying to kind of jump onto this bandwagon? But I think it's also it's just being a good idea. It's thinking.
I think it's a good idea because
Yeah.
there's no other alcohol company that I'm aware of.
Right. I mean,
that is spearheading.
Yeah.
That,
exactly.
That quote unquote.
And there may be ones that are doing we may not know about them.
Sure, they're not in our sphere.
Again, to bring it back, I mean, there's a lot more in depth in terms of the responses that they got through this study that they hired this company to do for them. And I'm just going to continue to come back to the thing. It's like they're conscientious of what they're drinking. They want to know what's going into their alcohol, and Absolut isn't necessarily known for that type of transparency.
Sure, yeah.
So it's kind of like, you're like, okay, so you kind of saw this one thing and you gravitated towards that, and there's still time. I mean, again, she's 8 weeks into this. Like, there's a lot of changes that could be made. We're just kind of like, all right, do you make a transition because, obviously there's a desire for flavors out there and stuff, where maybe you get away from the synthetic types of flavorings and stuff like that, and you go like a kettle botanicals route, or really do like more of like the natural flavors,
or the New Deal hot monkey route, yeah,
or whatever. Sure. So I think it's going to be interesting to see like how it unfolds. Like, how does that look in a bar? I mean, because Absolut's definitely going to lend itself to high volume bars and things like that, with the exception of the Elix. But it's like, how's that going to look when it comes to the messaging that's actually in bars and in stores and stuff like that?
I'm very curious to see how this unfolds. I'm like I said, when I read the headlines, there was a hardcore eye roll, and the more I read into it, the more I'm on board, and I want to support and hopefully buy into whatever it is that they're doing to make this story unfold a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a little bit more. Allow that conversation to unfold in healthy and mature ways.
Yeah. All right. So moving on to non-flavored vodka stuff.
You're really on that.
Yeah. So over through 2019, Australian wine saw a huge surge in consumption and purchases. Now, right now, they're doing about 1.2 billion liters a year in Australia of wine, and which is actually down for them compared to years previous. But their sales went up 2% for approximately 114 million, and for an overall total sales of $6.36 billion of sales were done of Australian wine last year.
Is Australian wine good? I don't know.
Yeah,
that's good.
There's definitely some that's fucking delicious.
All right.
And so historically, white wine has always kind of been the top dog in Australia in terms of production and then also consumption. This past year was the first time that the red sales were higher for exports. And, again, coming back to that number of like actual production being down, right now the concerns, like now they think that they're kind of figuring out the balancing act because the demand for Australian wine is getting higher and higher and higher. And now they're trying to balance that out, where it's like before it was a lot of white wine, now they're trying to bring up more of red wine. But basically, winemakers are now going to start stockpiling red wine and producing more red wine to keep up with that demand. So, buddy, you obviously don't have too much of a basis for the Australian wine.
I know nothing about wine. I'm
except for what I just poured you.
I don't even know what that was.
But it was good though.
It was good.
Why was it good, buddy?
I couldn't tell you why it's good. I can tell you why it's bad.
Cool.
But it wasn't
Sounds
bad.
good.
It wasn't bad.
So now, Chris, for you, are you seeing people come into the store and looking for Australian wine, or
no? But I'm a little bit of an oddball in terms of that market. We're still developing our wine culture at this store, so people are just learning now that they can come in and find dope wines from us. I think my reputation specifically speaks to spirits,
right?
And regardless of that, when you walk in, you see a giant wall of spirits, and my wine. People will literally walk around the cases of wine, and before they leave, they'll turn around and go, "Oh, you have wine." I just spent like 20 minutes literally maneuvering your way around it, but it's fine. All that being said, Australian wine, there's some amazing producers. I mean, they're legendary that come out of Australia, and the fires this last year have been terrible for them. So I'm curious.
I'd imagine that would.
I'm curious how much of that has played a role into these numbers.
Yeah, because you are you're looking at a potential situation where you have like a lot of smoke tainted wine.
Yeah.
At this point.
Well, we thought that was going to be the case with Napa and Sonoma, and that didn't really end up being the case.
It wasn't as devastating, but there was definitely some.
There was some
that.
Yeah, and
were,
some people leaned into it. Some people played with it, but not as much. With Napa and Sonoma, at least less of them burnt. You know, I mean, you're looking at the hillside. A lot of that fire shot up the hillside, but it didn't hit the valley as much, and there was some ruin that happened along that way. But in Australia, I know for a fact a lot of those vineyards got just
completely demolished.
Destroyed.
Right?
Yeah, they were decimated.
Yeah, and I think what this also kind of speaks to is that, you know, having more access to things from around the world is opening up a lot of people's palates to different stuff. So they're finding that, you know, especially here in California, where we're so lucky and we're kind of assaulted with wine nonstop, whether it be Napa, Sonoma, or in our particular area, you know, like El Dorado County and stuff like that.
Amador, stuff
like that. You have all this stuff that's so close to us that, you know, people kind of do tend to operate within that bubble of like, you know, California wine, and then from there, then you get into like the French stuff and things like that. And when I talk to different accounts who are more wine focused and everything, like they do talk about the struggles of trying to get people to drink things outside of California or France.
Definitely. I think that the consumer, at least in California, is really afraid of things that they can't pronounce. Right.
That makes sense.
Yeah, sure.
So
I mean,
unless it's something that they recognize, there's no way that they're touching it.
Yeah, and I mean, it's for sure, it's a scenario where anytime that you're talking about drinking, whether you're at a bar or you're in a liquor store or stuff like that, like so many decisions and things that you do are based off of ego. And it's like, well, if I can't say that, I don't want to look like an idiot, you know?
But yeah, I mean, you get people who come into the bar and they're like, what is Fallernum or Orgeat? And
Right.
Like, it's almond syrup.
Yeah, don't worry about what it is.
Yeah.
Just,
you want the drink or not?
Yeah, just drink it. So,
but I mean, you're right. If anytime there's somebody who they make it's an ego thing. It's like I can't pronounce that. I'm not gonna even.
I mean, I think
I'm not even gonna go there.
It's partially ego, but it's also I don't know what the fuck this is. Why am I gonna drink it?
Right.
Ask questions.
So, yeah, I think most service industry people are down for answering questions. There are a few people who are
we're all mainly down for answering questions.
Totally, most people are eager about it, but there's a handful of dicks out there.
Sure, you can catch me on a bad day.
Yeah.
Well, and so
you're the one with the good personality.
That's right.
I'm the one who makes the good drinks, right?
But yeah, so you know, and I think what is encouraging about it, you know, especially for someone who has to sell a lot of like different stuff and things like that, is that information is out there now too. It's a lot easier to access
for sure.
That kind of stuff. So if I'm walking through like your store and I see something I don't recognize, I can Google it, right, and be like, oh, okay, like, there's that, you know.
Oh man, that's one of my favorite things that I've learned.
Googling.
Yes, I've recently been introduced to the internet.
Yeah.
Do you know most people watch porn on the internet?
I did not.
Me neither. Wow. Fascinating.
I could have told you that.
One of my favorite things.
I used to go to Susie's.
People standing with their back to me, staring at my wall of booze, pulling their phones out and looking
up stuff.
Looking stuff up.
What is this?
Yeah, and I don't know if they're looking up the price and if they're looking up what a brand is, but it's really fun to watch them like sit there and like stare. I can see their head go up from the back. And
how often do they put their phone down and go, "Excuse me, I have a question."
You know, I'm pretty aggressive about when people walk in. I just say, "Hey, let me know if you have a question."
Yeah.
If you want to know about anything, I'm down to talk about it. But it's still, you find those like treasure hunters, people who are out just like looking at prices and seeing.
Oh yeah, I was in the other day, and there was a guy who was like, "How much is your Whistle Pig Boss Hog?" And you're like, $500. He's like, "That's a great price." And I was like, "Is it?"
It is. And guess what? It's still sitting on my shelf.
Yeah, right. He didn't buy it.
He did not buy it.
Well, I mean, I think with a lot of those guys though, that they use it as a base for everything else, right? So it's kind of like, okay, here's a bottle that I do recognize, right? That I'm familiar with. I've seen prices of it. So based off this one bottle, I'm going to determine whether or not the rest of your store is priced.
Yeah, I'm going to judge you.
Yeah.
Well, that goes back to our talk about the Instagram account.
Right. Where there's so many factors that play into it. So there was an Instagram account that and I'm still following it because it's hilarious. They actually hit a store that was very close to us recently.
Really?
Yeah. And they got a thumbs up.
Good for them.
But basically what they do is people send them in pictures, and then they tell them whether or not it's a good price or a bad price. The unfortunate thing about it is that it doesn't factor in like where this
region.
is. Yeah, nothing of that factors in.
Or anything else that's in their inventory that might actually be a good price.
Right. Good.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, I mean, for instance, we have our well rum, which I won't say what it is, but it's really well priced. And
well priced.
Well priced. But that offshoots some of our other stuff that makes, maybe it should be a little bit higher price. We can lower it because our well is such a good margin that we can kind of lower the prices on other things. Yeah. So it's one of those things where it's like, maybe
that's good business.
That's good business, right? But I mean, that's one of those things where like, you got that one bottle that maybe should be priced a little bit lower, but all these other things are really priced well because they're trying to make
things approachable.
There
was a conversation that I had when I was in Miami. I was sitting at the Esotico and just having the time of my life. There was this guy who was standing next to me, and he was like one of those guys that he was just like, hey, look at me so I can talk to you, right? And so I was like really trying not to. And of course, eventually he lost patience, and he like, kind of hit me on the shoulder, and he was just like, hey man, I've never been in a tiki bar before. Can you help me out here? And I was just like, yes, I can.
You're not nicer than I am.
And so I give him a little bit of direction and stuff like that, and I was just like, hey, the really cool thing about a lot of this stuff is that you're in happy hour right now, so all these drinks are half price. He goes, man, I was really worried about that because I thought like when you told me to order the zombie was like $16 or something like that. Yeah. He's like, I was like, why would this guy recommend this really expensive drink? And then it made me think of Jungle Bird and like the Black Tot, which you guys have.
We do,
and it's like around $100 or something like that,
which is actually pretty well priced.
I agree. And so
amazing price.
And so I told this guy that I was like, dude, you could just out of thinking in the rum rolls, like you could have this rum, this 2 ounce pour or 1.5 ounce pour for $100. He was like, that's just crazy and stuff like that. He then went on later to be like, it's like, well, I've noticed you've already had like 4 or 5 drinks. I'm like, thanks for counting my drinks, bro.
Yeah.
Like
you fucking cops?
Yeah. But it's really funny because like people, they can get really hung up on that stuff, and understandably so. I just think, maybe because the money that I do spend like on stuff, it usually is like on drinks or bottles and
well,
stuff like
this
that.
is our world, right? So this is obviously where we spend our time. This is where we spend our money.
Yeah.
Not everybody's
most
us.
People, right? Most people, go out once a week, if that.
Sure.
Yeah.
And so when they go out, they want to experience something they know is a sure thing.
Yeah.
So that's where.
Sure.
Sorry for that pause, folks at home. I laughed because Drew tried to pour a bottle with the cap still on.
Yeah,
that was great.
132.
132.
That was fantastic. For me.
I was staring into your eyes.
That was great.
No, I mean, Chris brings up a great point that the everyday consumer sees maybe a $12 drink and a $6 drink, and they go, I'll have the $6 drink because
they don't know the difference.
How different can it be?
Right.
And if I think your average consumer, they're looking, what can I get the most bang for my buck?
Yeah.
And how can I spend my money that's not going to break the bank for me? Not everybody goes in with, I'm going to buy the $100 rum, or even I'm going to buy the $18, $16, whatever it is cocktail. They're just going, what's your happy hour Mai Tai? Can I have that? That's $5. I'll have 6 of those.
Yeah.
Because they want to be able to experience what's around them and be in that, but also have a relatively priced cheap drink. I can't tell you how many people come in and be like, can I get a PBR? Nah, dog, we don't carry that here. But I get what they're doing. They're wanting what's familiar and cheap, but also wanting that experience.
Yeah,
I think that's kind of what it boils down to sometimes. It's like they don't know, and so they're like, well, I'll just get whatever's cheap because can't be that big of a difference if I'm paying 16 for this and 6 for this. Like, well, what's the difference,
Yeah, what I think then, kind of bringing it back to the Australian wines and the growth and everything like that is that...
Wait, we're talking about Australian wines, weren't we?
Yeah. This happens often, and that's why I'm here to
just bring it back.
Bring him back in. But I think...
cowboy.
I think what it does is it really does illustrate like that bigger point of like now you have so much more access, whether it's somebody standing in your shop, Googling things, whether they're checking price or they're checking ratings, Yeah.
Like,
is this worth it? And so having these Australian wines and wines is, one of those things that it's really funny to me because there's so many competitions, whether it's county fairs, magazines, publications, online publications, like it just doesn't matter. There's so many different things that you can submit your wine to.
Spirits are the same way.
Yeah, spirits are absolutely, but it's just it's very rampant. I think more so just because wine's a lot more accessible in that way. That it's kind of like cool. You go to their tasting room and they just have like all these medals like across bottles. You're like, what?
What are those medals for?
The Podunk County Fair, like, what? But if you're looking at reviews,
but they got gold.
Oh, it's got 17 gold medals. Like, who cares that 3 of them were from his aunt? Like, it doesn't matter. And so I think with stuff like that, because Australian wines are very good, and people now have more access to it, and then. Again, as a bartender, as a shop owner, like you have that responsibility as well to educate yourself, so that way you can convey that knowledge when those questions do come.
I'm really bad about wine, though. Anytime anybody
but I'm just saying in general.
Any questions about wine, I'm like, I don't know, it's red or it's white. What do you want?
It's made from grapes. What do you want
I
from
don't
me?
know. Let's talk about booze.
So, but I think that's kind of what it shows, and then you have these regions that potentially can become easier and easier to sell because it's just the knowledge is there. Moving on to our final story, which I think is just kind of a really cool one, is this was from Market Watch. It's called Farm to Glass, and basically it broke down the story of the North Dakota Farmers Union partnered with another hard name, Vucerovich Simmons Advisory Group, which is a bar consulting group out in Washington, D.C., and they formed the Farmers Restaurant Group, which opened their first restaurant, Founding Farmers, in Washington, D.C. a few years back. They're up to 5 locations of the Founding Farmers, plus 2 more. And basically their whole thing is not only emphasizing farm to fork when it comes to food, which I think we're all pretty familiar with, but then also with the spirits that they're serving. So they actually started their own distillery as well, and it's called Founding Spirits Distillery. Based off their numbers, so last year they did about $85 million, and 25% of that was alcohol sales. 70% in terms of that was like 70% was like spirits and cocktails, 20% was wine, and then 10% was beer. So they've created this distillery that they're selling their spirits to. They also distribute to other people as well if they want to carry these spirits, but they're involved with every step of the process from growing the base to getting up, and they do gins, whiskeys, vodkas. They have
that was going to be my question. What do they carry?
They have an Amaro as well. They've partnered with other distilleries doing different things with that point of emphasis. And this is something that I know personally that I have been asking for more and more. Like I get so sick and tired of seeing these beautiful restaurants get put together and then like just no care or consideration goes into their bar, or you hear something. I heard this actually very recently. Brand new bar just opened up, looks great. Hey, are you working with so and so? It's like, oh, we're only working with the big ones right now. It's like, why would you not take all that care? Like, you're putting all this emphasis into your food and everything like that, but it doesn't translate to the drinks, which you can make way better margins on.
There's multiple points that you're touching on that I would love to just spin off on a million different rants.
Do 5. Do 5 of those out of a million.
Okay.
Let's touch on most restaurants are started by chefs typically, right? And especially if we're talking about farmers, if we're talking about food. Therefore, when they're talking about booze, they don't know booze. Do they ask the people who do know booze? Not usually. Yeah. Which is, again, comes back to that's a failure.
I think there's chefs that know booze.
There are chefs who think that they know booze. There are chefs that drink booze.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know that there's chefs. I'll just throw one out there. I think Locales does a great job with their cocktail program. I think, and he doesn't ask anybody. He just does his shit, doesn't he?
He does.
Yeah.
But
I've had his cocktails and I've had the stuff that he's working with, and I'm like, it's all good.
Well, he works with
it's
my
great.
stuff, so that's why.
He's working. Yeah, well.
Yeah.
But I mean, and I think that's one out of all the restaurants in Sacramento. But I think that's
one.
That's a good point.
We can also.
But he
say,
also is very, very conscientious of the farm to fork stuff as well, and I think maybe he's a one person. Sorry, it's Chris. I don't know why I keep saying he, but Chris does a really good job of.
We're trying to make this a national podcast, buddy.
Yeah, right.
Can you please
Chris
not localize it so much? Try to make it relatable for other people.
I think he does a great job of incorporating cocktails. It's a very small cocktail menu, but I mean, he does a great job of incorporating. But once again, that's one out of
Yeah,
many.
and that's a rarity.
Yeah, I agree.
Right?
And his restaurants are rarities too. So,
yeah.
Sorry.
So now point number two.
Point number two.
Obviously, booze is making the money,
Yeah.
right? Like that's, and that's an aspect that a lot of chef-run places are not stoked about. And right, because they want their food to be the focus, and they want to highlight those things.
The margins aren't as good on food. That's just what it is.
Not even a little bit.
Yeah, that's just what it is.
Not even a little bit. Well, it takes
Yeah.
one person to pour a single drink that costs a certain amount.
Right.
It takes 5 cooks to create a peanut butter jelly sandwich. Right? So
Sure.
I think we're
Yeah.
really, really tapping into something with Chris right
Yeah.
look,
He hates chefs.
now. You cook food, boy, do I hate you.
I love chefs. I just made a choice earlier in my life.
Sure,
I
yeah,
was heading
I know.
to the bar and,
Yeah,
not into the kitchen.
But no, you make a good point. I mean, that's it. The alcohol is what makes money for places.
For restaurants.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's a lot of chefs that try to control that without really understanding the full gamut of what that means. I lost track of my
Yeah, do
You're
you
on
think
2.
it's-
I got 3 more.
my 8 points.
I'm sorry.
Let me ask
I
you
feel like
this.
that was my fault.
When you see this big emphasis on farm to fork, outside of just the lack of knowing, and maybe this is an extension of it, but you want the best of ingredients when it comes to your food.
Yep.
Right? You want the best of the best. You want people to have that positive experience. With so many options out there for spirits companies, for people to go to and pick up this different stuff, and you can see it here. Like, these guys are producing this quality product now for their establishments, and then for anybody else who wants to pick it up. Is it just a price thing? I mean, buddy, for you, are you ordering the best of the best for every single thing, or it's just we talked a little bit about pricing earlier, where you're just kind of I can't, because then all my prices would be so astronomical when it comes to drinks, or you're trying to fit a certain build, or what are the factors that are playing in that you don't see more farm to fork focus when it comes to drinks?
Are we talking about cocktails, or are we talking about
No, cocktails. Yeah.
Well,
right?
cocktails,
but that's the question, right?
but even base spirits. I mean, I think that's just an extension of it, right?
Well, for me, base spirits, it boils. I mean, it's very different for me because we're rum focused, but it comes down to what's good for me. I mean, it doesn't necessarily matter, I guess, and it sounds bad, but it doesn't matter if it comes from a farm in Sacramento. I want the best of a Demerara rum, or I want the best of a Jamaican rum. But I mean, those are different regions, so I don't know. I don't really know where I'm going with this, but
well, I guess it's. I mean, obviously you can't be completely locked into local. One thing in terms of locales, right? It's they want to carry and they do. They carry some tequilas and they carry some mezcals.
Sure.
Well, you can't get that locally, so
right.
You make the exceptions to that, but then he compensates in other ways where he's then he has the Darjeeling gin, which is made in Auburn. So he does those different things, and he definitely cultivates that with his wine collection. I guess I've just always been curious about that. When you see these restaurants that do put this huge emphasis on food, and then you go and look at their back bar, and you're just kind of it's what year is it? How do you not have this cool stuff? How are you still working with some of these finest call juices and stuff like that?
I will say that almost every single time it comes down to ego. Almost every single time. And when it comes to the chef who's running the space or a bartender who's running the space, they want to be known as like the boss.
Yeah.
They're the ones that are making the choices. So rare in this industry do we find people who are willing to put their faith in others and allow that to be their pride. You know, like, yeah, I hired this person. That looks good for me because I did that.
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
Weird.
so often it's I made that choice.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm the opposite. I'm like, I'm not the boss.
Don't
Yeah.
talk to me.
Who's in charge of it? Not me.
You know, so you find that, and you find that so often. And I will say, as much as Chris has done a great job, he definitely still fits that mold, right? He's definitely still a person, as are so many other chef-run restaurants. Of I made this choice. I'm the one who calls these shots. This is the thing that I do.
Right.
It's not I hired somebody who knows what the fuck they're talking about, and I put my full faith in them because I know how to hire someone dope.
Sure, yeah.
I don't think that's like
That's
not just like an industry thing though. I think it's really hard for
it's a human thing.
Yeah,
It
it's
is.
definitely
It is.
it's hard to let go. I mean, and especially in a lot of these places as well. And I don't think that Locals is necessarily the best example of this.
Yeah, I'm sorry that I brought that up.
Yeah, man, Jesus Christ, can't promote this podcast at all. No, I don't think that because that's such a personal thing. That's an independent restaurant, you know. I think it's more so like, you know, you're seeing a company like this, like they have 7 restaurants.
Right, this is like a franchise.
You know,
Yeah.
and they're putting this level of emphasis and care into every single one of these programs, and it's not just like a dictated list of go out and do this thing, work with these people because they give us X amount of money. It's just kind of like we care, like there's groups here, like, you know, big groups in this area that is just kind of like, yeah, who's going to give us the most money this year? We'll carry their stuff.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, but check out how dope our food is. Like, why doesn't that matter with your drinks?
Well, I think what's kind of rad about this group is that it's a co-op, and it's a great example of a co-op. They want to showcase what they do.
Right.
Yeah,
And what
everything.
they do,
Yeah.
they're farmers.
Yeah.
Therefore, they hire the people who can showcase what they do. Now, admittedly, I don't think any of us have tasted any of their food nor any of their juice. So on paper, it seems pretty dope. But 7 restaurants,
And
seven
what is it,
restaurants, is
$85
pretty
million?
impressive.
I think they're probably.
I feel like they're
probably
doing
something
something.
right.
Yeah. Well, and the way that it broke down is like, so they end up working together, right? The Farmers Union and this consulting group, and then 3 years later is when they open their first restaurant. So to me, what I got the sense of was like they were working with they were linking them to different restaurants. They're like, why don't we just open up our own thing together? You know, like we're getting your, you know, all the food that you guys are producing like to these spots. Like, why don't we just do something together and then, you know, go from there? Like I said, you know, there are now.
I mean, what a great way to vertically integrate, and that way you can cut out like Big Ag. You can cut out Cisco. You know, you can create the market for yourself.
Right.
You know, if you're opening up your own distillery based on your own corn that you're growing,
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
that's fucking brilliant. I mean, and that's sort of the American dream, isn't it? I mean,
and I think you can do that here, right? And one person that was trying to do it, and I admittedly haven't talked to him about it in a while, but is with Ian over at South, which is, you know, a Southern style restaurant here in Sacramento, is that he started looking at the numbers and he was like, I could go buy a plot of land and grow a bunch of stuff that I work with every single day and I'll save money. And that is what he did. Like he went, but now I don't know where they're at in that project right now, but with how much, you know, how agricultural heavy like the Sacramento area is, I just wonder, you know, is that something that you might be able to see more here? And then also, you know, as you know, the farm to fork starts with food, does it continue to infiltrate drinks and stuff like that? And people asking those questions, kind of going back to the Absolut thing, is that this new generation of drinkers is like, where's this from? How's this made? It applies to my food, but it also applies to what I drink. That matters to me.
I don't know that 100% that this generation's doing that. I think I think you have a portion of people who are doing that, people who are health conscientious maybe, who care about where their stuff's come from. But I also think you have a bunch of just dummies who don't care, and they're just trying to get as drunk as they can as quickly as they can.
But that's life.
But that's life. I mean, you're going to have people who are on both ends of the spectrum. I think we are progressing more of people who are wanting more knowledge, wanting more education on stuff, but I think we still also have a lot of people who are just...
Yeah, but I think there's enough of those people, and listen, there's always going to be jackasses like
sure,
that.
Yeah.
But it's like there's
welcome.
There's enough of those people that like all these different companies are making these changes.
Yeah.
Like there's a reason that like Beyond like meat like exists now. You know, it's not because there's like 7 people who are kind of like, I don't want meat anymore. It's like it's a lot of people.
Right.
We were talking the numbers with our vegan story last week or the week before.
Right.
Where it was staggering how many more people
Yeah,
there were from 2015 to 2019. You know, we're like.
Do you think that's due to social media and just people being able to promote and being like, don't eat meat?
No, don't kill
cows.
I think it's access to information and just kind of seeing like.
Well, yeah, that too, though. Right?
It's like, well, why not? Why not try it? Yeah. And if I feel better, like go from there. I was having a conversation earlier with someone where it was just like, I don't drink beer. Like, oh, are you gluten intolerant? I was like, no, it just doesn't make me feel good, so I stopped drinking it. You know, and like I don't need to do that. And I know there's a lot of other people who also don't drink beer, so it's like having that community, I think, help builds it up as well. So
I think I'm stupid because there's a lot of things that don't make me feel good, and I just keep doing them.
Yeah, no, trust me, I still have those, and I'm like, I get really cocky, and I'm like, yeah, Taco Bell, I can handle that.
Yeah.
No, I can't. I can't, and I continue to make that mistake. But I've held out for a long time, so.
Yeah, pick your battles.
Yeah, I'm not making that battle anymore. So there's that. We're getting a little long now. We have 2 more things that we need to discuss. We do have to wrap it up. Buddy, do you have a Brad Peters story?
Oh, yeah.
I don't have any Brad Peters stories.
Son of a bitch!
I don't have...
Buddy, dig deep, baby.
Let me think about it. You guys have one maybe? I can while I think.
Well, we gotta make it. I mean, you could just be like a trait about Brad. Now, when you text Brad, how long does it take for him to get back to you?
I don't text Brad. I mean,
Okay.
I got one Brad Peters story.
Okay.
It's actually not a Brad story. It's more of a Lindsay story.
Who we love.
We went to
Lindsay Peters is a saint on this show.
It was a few.
So don't you?
It's not going to be anything bad about her.
Okay.
We went to the Avett Brothers show, and it was at Thunder Valley.
Okay.
And this may be a couple years ago, I think, something like that. 2 years ago, 3 years, I don't remember. But it was me, my wife, and Matt Gonzalez, and we went to the show with Brad. I don't think Lindsay was there, but we all went to the show, and we all decided, by some random reason, I'm assuming Brad, that we were going to go to Brad's house and drink.
Yeah.
After the show.
Terrible ringleader.
Terrible
person.
We go to his house, and it's very apparent that Lindsay did not know we were coming because not only is she there, but I think her parents were sitting in the living room, and we're all kind of, we're already had a couple, and we're ready to have a few more, and we all get escorted to the backyard and told to be quiet the entire time because, and I was just like, I feel really weird about this situation. Why are we here? Did I invite myself? No, I clearly didn't invite myself to Brad's house. So it was an odd situation because I wanted to have a great time and like turn it up because like that's kind of where we were at. But at the same time, I was like, Lindsay seems pissed.
Oh my God. That's perfect.
That's an amazing Brad story.
That's a perfect.
So that's my Brad story. That's all I got.
Yeah, that was great. Okay, so now the one thing that we do want to make kind of like our sign off for our guests and stuff like that. This was a question that Chris had actually come up with, and I love it. Now, all of us now officially at this point are fathers.
Correct. Yeah.
You have the slight edge. You got 2.
I got 2.
We're holding down the fort at 1 each. So the question is, and it's pretty open-ended. There's no rules to this. You could pick this for a variety of different reasons. We just need a little bit of an explanation.
Okay.
So, and you have 2, so you can do 2 if you want.
Okay.
Or you can just make them split it.
Yeah.
You are going to leave a bottle of alcohol to your children. What bottle are you leaving them?
All right. I already have one. Okay, so when Ben, my youngest, was born, right after he was born, I got a trip to Jack Daniels.
Okay.
With their Jack Daniels backstage, with it's like a bartender's like, hey, check out what's going on at Jack Daniels and all that, and I got a bottle of single barrel Jack Daniels rye whiskey for Ben, and it has his name with the date when he was born. And so that will be his.
Awesome.
Ben gets that when he's
What
21.
Bailey,
Bailey, I'm gonna say Bailey gets. So I don't know if everybody knows this. Probably nobody knows this, but Bailey is half Japanese or quarter Japanese, something like that. And he really, really holds on to that Japanese side of him. Like he wants to know all about Japanese culture and he wants to go to Japan, which we've already agreed to. Like when he's old enough, we'll go to Japan.
Yeah.
And we'll go tell distilleries and do all the cool shit. He would get a nice bottle of like Yamazaki 12 or something like that.
Yeah. Well, I think we identified why Buddy likes Japanese whiskey.
Oh yeah, it's
there it is.
He's got an interest in it.
I got an interest.
He's got an interest.
So yeah, so Bailey gets Yamazaki 12. Ben gets Jack Daniel's single barrel rye.
Nice.
That was quick and easy. I already knew the answers.
There you go.
Great.
That is great.
Yeah.
I've been mulling this over for weeks.
What
I
are your
still
guys-
don't have an answer.
You guys don't have answers?
No.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of have one, and I think it's just because it was such a significant part of my life, and it ended up being like the reason that my daughter's around, and it would be a bottle of Chairman Reserved Spiced. So the night that I proposed to my wife, we had a big Halloween party, and at our house, which could not hold this many people, we probably had somewhere in the realm of like 85 to 90 people, and they all knew except for my wife. Like it was awesome, and her grandma, because she can't keep a secret. So but I'm sitting behind the bar, and there was a specific time that we were going to do this at. Again, most people knew what was going on. My father-in-law now knew what time was going on, and kept coming to me like in 5-minute intervals, being like, "Drew, you ready? Are you ready to do this?" And I was just like, "Nope." And then my youngest brother, Michael, was just like, "Here we go, man. Let's take these nerves off." And we just did shot after shot after shot of Chairman Spiced. And I love that rum, and it's so strongly tied to that night, that whole process. She said yes, so that was great.
Yeah.
And then eventually that leads to Hensley. So that would be like, it's a bottle that I can always get. And I could be like, this is for you. This is why you're here.
Yeah.
It's because she said yes, and I finally was able to work up the nerve to do it. And taking little mini shots of Chairman Reserved Spice with my brother.
That's a great story.
Yeah.
Very good.
So that would be my bottle. So, but you don't have one yet.
You don't have one.
I don't have one yet.
You don't have one.
Oh, well, you've only been a dad for like 3 weeks.
A couple weeks.
Right.
So,
Yeah. You'll get there. You'll get there.
I've been thinking about this since before my daughter was born, though. And I still don't have that answer.
Well,
I think we have to figure out a little bit more about who she is.
I would agree.
That's
I would agree with
fair.
that.
That's
Like
fair.
let that personality come out a little bit and kind of be like, you know what? She's definitely an absolute watermelon girl. Like
Here it is. Hashtag
First of all, disowned.
Hashtag sex responsibly.
That's right. That's right. Second of all, if she liked the Absolut Wild Tea or the Boston, we're cool.
We're good?
yeah.
We're good. We're good. It's fine.
Well, I'll make sure to let her know that when she can comprehend it, so that way you don't disown her.
Fair. 2 years old, she'll probably start understanding Wild Tea.
Yeah, well, I'll say that'll be her first word. All right, well, buddy, thank you so much for being
Thanks
here
for having me.
tonight with us, making time in your very busy schedule for
I'm not busy.
a
I
couple
just pretend
slaps.
to be busy.
Everybody go out and please rate, subscribe, share with your friends.
Go to the Jungle Bird too.
Go to the Jungle Bird
Yeah, right.
as
Yeah,
well.
Fly into Sacramento, go to the Jungle Bird.
People
Fine.
do that.
They do that.
I know.
I would assume probably more than any other bar in Sacramento at this point, if you're being realistic about
that's
it.
accurate.
So do that. Go hang out there. Come to Good Bottle. Rate, subscribe, share with your friends, all that.
That's right.
Cheers, guys.
All right, homies.
The Good Bottle podcast was recorded at the Good Bottle Shop in Sacramento, California. Music is by Leon Moore and Chase Moore. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at The Good Bottle Podcast.